The hidden truth about female arousal. Gentlemen, here's a truth that might sting a little. Women aren't turned on by your kindness, your dinner tabs, or your well-written love notes. If attraction worked that way, half the men watching this would already be living out romantic fairy tales. The harsh reality is that what many men think women want and what actually awakens desire in them are two very different things. The gestures you've been told are sweet might warm her heart for a moment, but they rarely ignite that deep, involuntary pull that makes her see you as a man she can't ignore. Most men misunderstand this entirely. They try to please her into passion, not realizing that approval kills mystery. You can't negotiate attraction. It's primal, emotional, and non-logical. And when a woman senses that you're chasing her validation instead of standing in your own frame, she starts losing interest faster than a candle burns out in the wind. What I'm about to reveal isn't theory. It's the real-world psychology behind desire, decoded from both modern relationships and the ancient patterns that have never changed. Think about it. For centuries, the men who drew women in weren't always the best-looking or richest. They were the ones who projected certainty. The Roman general Marcus Agrippa was not handsome by any account, yet his quiet dominance won the loyalty of the most admired women in his era. Napoleon Bonaparte was barely 5'6", yet his conviction and strategic brilliance made empresses blush. The same laws still apply today. In every generation, women gravitate toward men who emanate authority without needing to prove it. Now, before you start blaming yourself for not knowing this, understand, it's not your fault. You were programmed to think attraction works like fairness. Do enough good deeds and love will reward you. Schools, movies, and even your mother's advice told you to be nice and always put her first. But human biology didn't evolve through politeness. It evolved through polarity. Attraction lives in the tension between masculine direction and feminine surrender. This video isn't about tricks, it's about the truth. The kind of truth that stops you from wasting time trying to earn attraction that either exists or doesn't. Once you understand the hidden mechanics of arousal, you stop chasing what drains you and start embodying what excites her instincts. Because whether she's 20 or 40, rich or poor, modern or traditional, one principle stays constant. For a woman, arousal starts not between her legs, but between her ears and inside her chest. You can't buy that spark, you can only become it. Every one of the 9 attraction triggers you're about to hear connects to one core theme: self-command. Women respond to emotional strength the way men respond to beauty. It's immediate, visceral, and beyond logic. The more grounded you are, the more her nervous system relaxes around you. That's biology, not romance. But before we jump into the first trigger, let's address something crucial. You were likely taught the opposite of what I'm about to tell you. Most of your habits, the overtexting, the overgiving, the hesitation to lead, are the result of a culture that's been conditioning men to suppress their masculine edge for decades. That's why so many relationships today feel inverted. Men chasing approval, women losing respect, and both sides quietly resenting the imbalance. Here's what changes everything. When you respect yourself more than you fear losing her, that shift alone flips the dynamic. Because once a man stands firm in his own worth, he no longer plays emotional poker with a weak hand. Women can sense it instantly. It's in your tone, your posture, your pace of speech. It's the reason a calm man can command a room full of chaos. And if you think this doesn't apply to you, look at the elites of every era, the Rockefeller heirs, the Romanovs, even today's billionaire class. They all understand one thing: power isn't what you do. It's what you don't chase. The man who walks away from what doesn't serve him inevitably becomes more attractive to everyone watching. That's the psychology of scarcity. The same rule that governs markets governs desire. Remember this key point. Attraction begins with your relationship to yourself. A woman can't genuinely respect you if you can't respect yourself. And every act of self-betrayal, every time you tolerate disrespect, overgive, or silence your standards, chips away at that respect. Eventually, she doesn't even know why the spark died. She just feels it's gone. So as we move forward, keep this foundation in mind. A man's ability to hold his frame, to remain grounded when tested, is the root of all attraction. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Because the truth is, you teach every woman how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Now, in the next part, we'll begin the first of the 9 attraction triggers, the one that separates men she forgets from the ones she can't stop thinking about. It's something most men get completely backward, yet it's the fastest way to command her respect, ignite her attraction, and shift the balance of power forever. Power, leadership, and confidence. The first and most misunderstood trigger, respecting yourself enough to walk away. Nothing turns a woman on faster than a man who values himself more than her approval, not because it's manipulative, but because it signals one thing she's biologically wired to crave: certainty. When you have the strength to walk away from disrespect, she feels that you're a man anchored in self-worth, not floating in neediness. And no matter what women claim in public, behind closed doors, that kind of man ignites something ancient in them, security mixed with desire. Picture this: you're at a party and she flirts with another guy right in front of you. Most men would argue, sulk, or try to prove they're unbothered. The rare man, the one who turns her world upside down, simply says, "That's not my vibe," and leaves. No anger, no scene, just quiet confidence. That exit alone speaks louder than any speech, because a man who can walk away without theatrics is a man she knows others will chase. Scarcity makes value, and that law holds as true in markets as it does in love. This same principle is what made kings irresistible and conquerors unforgettable. Think of Alexander the Great. When offered gold to stop his campaign, he refused. His message was clear: I don't need your approval. I make my own destiny. Women respond to that same spirit in men today, whether they realize it or not. It's the energy of a man who leads, not pleads. Now, walking away doesn't mean weaponizing silence or pretending to be detached. It's about emotional discipline. Women are intuitive. They feel your energy before you speak. You can't fake inner strength any more than you can fake eye contact during a lie detector test. If you respect yourself, she feels it in your presence. If you don't, she feels that too. A man who's afraid to lose her is already halfway to losing her. Which brings us to the second trigger: leadership inside and outside the bedroom. Modern culture has demonized masculine leadership, confusing it with dominance or control. But real leadership isn't about control. It's about direction. It's about having a plan, guiding the moment, creating safety through certainty. Whether it's deciding on a restaurant, leading a conversation, or taking the initiative in intimacy, it's the same energy. I've got this. A woman can relax only when she senses you won't crumble under pressure. That's why leadership is so magnetic. It's not your words. It's the micro signals. The way you make decisions without hesitation, the calm tone you use when plans change, the way you guide her through a crowd with your hand on her back. Small gestures, massive impact. History has always rewarded men who lead with clarity. Winston Churchill wasn't adored because of his looks. He was adored because he embodied certainty when the world was collapsing. That's leadership under fire, the same energy women instinctively crave. When you decide with conviction, even in small moments, she feels safe. And safety is the soil where desire grows. Ask yourself, do you hesitate in moments that call for leadership? Because hesitation kills attraction. Not because she wants you to be perfect, but because she wants to feel you trust yourself. The man who doubts his own authority makes her question if she should trust him too. The third trigger ties directly into this. Confidence beats looks almost every time. You can have movie star genetics, but if you move like you're apologizing for existing, she'll feel no pull. Meanwhile, an average-looking man with unshakable self-assurance can walk into a room and make women compete for his attention. Why? Because confidence signals competence, and competence signals safety. Look at Elon Musk. Whatever you think of him, women are magnetized not by his appearance, but by his sheer audacity. His willingness to bet everything on his vision triggers the same instinct as the hunter who walks into the wild and returns with fire. Women don't fantasize about comfort. They fantasize about power they can trust. Confidence shows up in the small things. The waiter asks what you'll have. You answer without glancing at her for approval. You lead the conversation. You make the call. You trust your judgment. In her body, this registers as calm strength, the polarity to her emotional storm. And here's the paradox. The calmer and more certain you are, the more emotionally open she becomes. But remember, fake confidence is fragile. Women detect it instinctively. The man who brags, overcompensates, or performs strength reveals his insecurity faster than silence ever could. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't announce itself, it radiates. It's the difference between the soldier who boasts about the battle he might win and the one who's already survived 100. The elites understand this too. Watch any negotiation between world leaders or billionaires. The most powerful man in the room is often the quietest. He doesn't rush, doesn't fill silences, doesn't seek validation. That's what women feel when you embody true confidence, the sense that your world doesn't depend on their approval. So far, we've uncovered 3 of the 9 attraction triggers: self-respect, leadership, and confidence. Together, they form the masculine triad that every emotionally healthy woman responds to on a primal level. You don't need to manipulate her, you just need to become the kind of man who doesn't compromise his center. But we're only halfway through the hidden mechanics of desire. Because once a woman feels your confidence and leadership, she'll test something deeper, not to hurt you, but to confirm you're real. That's when boundaries, mystery, and tension enter the game. And if you can master those, you won't just attract women, you'll keep their interest long after the initial spark fades. In the next part, we'll break down how strong boundaries, silence, and restraint can turn attraction into obsession, and how men throughout history have used these same laws to command loyalty and desire. Boundaries, mystery, and touch. By now, you understand that attraction isn't born from effort, it's born from energy, and that energy is protected, not given away. Which brings us to the next law. Boundaries are the most underrated aphrodisiac. When a man has strong boundaries, it signals emotional stability. It tells her that you're not desperate for affection, that your validation can't be bought or begged for. This creates a tension she finds intoxicating, even if she doesn't admit it. Boundaries, in simple terms, are the invisible walls that define your self-respect. And nothing triggers feminine desire faster than a man who can't be manipulated emotionally. Imagine this. She cancels your plans last minute without apology. Most men would complain, guilt trip her, or rush to reschedule. But a man with a backbone simply says, "All good, I'll make other plans. Let me know when you're free." No drama, no resentment, just calm certainty. That single sentence rewires the entire dynamic, because at that moment, she realizes she can't control you. And paradoxically, that's what makes her want you more. You'll see this pattern echoed throughout history. When Queen Elizabeth I refused to marry, she drove suitors mad with curiosity and pursuit. Why? Because power mixed with restraint is irresistible. She wasn't rejecting connection, she was commanding respect through distance. Mystery and boundaries are 2 sides of the same coin, and every man who masters them becomes magnetic by default. Here's the truth most men don't want to face. Women test your boundaries not out of malice, but biology. They need to know you won't collapse under emotional pressure. Because if you can't hold your ground against her mood, how can you protect her from the world? She doesn't consciously think this, but her nervous system does. When you calmly uphold your standards, she feels safe. When you crumble, she feels repulsed. And this leads directly to the next trigger, mystery. Mystery is the oxygen of attraction. Oversharing suffocates it. The more she knows too soon, the less space there is for imagination. Think of yourself like a book. If she can read every page on the first date, there's no reason to keep turning them. Stop sending her a play-by-play of your day. Stop explaining every emotion. Leave room for curiosity. Because curiosity is the bridge between interest and obsession. You don't need to lie or play games, just learn to withhold. Say less. Let silence do its work. A woman's mind will fill the gap with intrigue, and that tension will do what no compliment ever could. Every great leader, from CEOs to seducers, understands this. Elon Musk doesn't tell the world everything. He hints, teases, delays. Apple launches are built on mystery. Even the Vatican mastered the art centuries ago. Secrecy amplifies reverence. You must learn to apply this same principle in your own micro-interactions. It's not deception, it's discipline. And while mystery keeps her mentally engaged, touch is what pulls her into the moment. But not any touch. The right kind, at the right time, with the right intent. Most men either rush physicality or avoid it entirely. Both extremes kill desire. A high-value man treats touch like language, deliberate, minimal, but meaningful. A light hand on her back as you guide her through a door. A brief brush of fingers during shared laughter. The goal isn't to possess, it's to signal. These micro-touches send messages her body understands before her mind can analyze. Done right, they build anticipation so strong she starts to crave more without realizing why. There's a reason dancers look erotic even when fully clothed. It's the restraint, the hint without the reveal. Touch should be like music. Crescendos matter, but silence between notes is what makes it beautiful. If you master that rhythm, you'll build tension most men never experience. The secret lies in intentional escalation. Start small, forearm, shoulder, upper back. Read her body's cues, relaxed posture, leaning in. Soft eyes, all green lights. Then progress subtly. The key is never to rush. Women feel safety in patience, and patience in her subconscious reads as control. The kind of control that says, I want you, but I don't need you. That's the most potent form of desire there is. Now let's step back and look at the pattern emerging. Every trigger so far, boundaries, mystery, touch, is rooted in restraint. Power in stillness, desire in distance, influence in silence. These aren't techniques to manipulate women, they're disciplines that refine men. They separate the ones who react from the ones who lead. When a woman meets a man who doesn't over-explain, doesn't overgive, and doesn't overreach, she can finally relax into her feminine energy. And that's where real chemistry lives, because polarity thrives on contrast. Your calm feeds her chaos. Your mystery feeds her imagination. Your restraint feeds her desire. But there's another layer, something deeper than confidence, leadership, or mystery. It's the invisible foundation that determines whether she sees you as her equal or her emotional burden. And if you get this wrong, no amount of charisma will save the connection. In the next part, we'll explore the final and most powerful triggers of all, the ones that unlock a woman's desire through emotional safety and masculine purpose. These are the same forces that separate boys chasing approval from men who command loyalty and love without asking for it. Emotional safety, purpose, and the final truth. If boundaries and mystery light the fire, emotional safety keeps it burning. A woman cannot surrender to a man she doesn't feel safe around. Safety doesn't mean softness, it means steadiness. When life hits hard and your emotions don't waver, she feels that she can finally let go of control. That feeling, trust mixed with surrender, is what her body translates as desire. Let's be clear, emotional safety isn't about coddling her moods or being endlessly patient. It's about holding your ground in storms. When she tests your frame, teases you, provokes you, even mocks you, she's not doing it to humiliate you. She's trying to feel whether your power is real or just performance. Women subconsciously crave proof that your confidence isn't fragile. Picture this. She throws a playful jab at your shirt. Instead of sulking, you smirk and reply, "You're just jealous the other women might like it more." Instantly, her energy shifts because you didn't flinch. You stayed in your masculine polarity. That steadiness turns tension into attraction. Psychologists call this emotional containment, your ability to remain calm and grounded when another person loses composure. Men who master it naturally become leaders, in relationships, in business, even in war. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who faced betrayal and loss without ever losing his calm. His restraint wasn't detachment, it was power. The same principle applies in your relationships. Women lose attraction when they have to mother you emotionally. If you react like a child, she becomes your caretaker, not your lover. And nothing kills sexual polarity faster. A woman in mother mode cannot feel desire. So when she throws emotional tests your way, it's not the moment to explain or plead, it's the moment to breathe. To show her that no matter what chaos unfolds, you are the calm center of it. That brings us to the final, most powerful trigger of all, purpose. Because purpose is the ultimate aphrodisiac. You can have charm, looks, and money, but without direction, you become forgettable. A man consumed by a mission doesn't chase validation, he creates gravity. People orbit him. Look throughout history. Leonardo da Vinci, driven by obsession for creation. Nikola Tesla, consumed by invention. Even modern billionaires like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, love them or hate them, they radiate one thing women find irresistible: focus. It's the energy of a man building something larger than himself. A man without purpose eventually becomes a man without polarity. He starts adapting to the moods and demands of whoever he's dating. But when your mission sits above everything, even her, you instantly shift how she perceives you. You're no longer just a boyfriend, you become a force. Imagine this: she asks to hang out, but you say, "Can't tonight, I've got a project to finish." She may pout in the moment, but deep down, she's impressed. Because she sees what most men never show her: discipline. Women may test your boundaries, but they fall in love with your devotion to something beyond them. Purpose is also what protects you from emotional collapse. When relationships end, when people disappoint you, purpose gives you the spine to rebuild. It's the masculine equivalent of oxygen. Without it, you suffocate in distraction. With it, you become magnetic, alive, unshakable, grounded. And here's the paradox: you don't pursue purpose for her, but it's what makes her pursue you. When a man walks in alignment with something sacred to him, his craft, his dream, his destiny, he emits the kind of quiet confidence that money can't buy. That's why ambition, discipline, and drive have always been erotic to women. They aren't just success traits, they're signs of internal order. Even Freud noticed this pattern. A man's libido transforms when channeled into meaningful work. He becomes creative, assertive, attractive, not because he's trying, but because his energy has direction. Women sense this instinctively. They can tell the difference between a man looking for meaning through them and a man who already carries meaning within him. So, if you take one truth from all of this, be this: women respond most intensely not to men who chase them, but to men who chase purpose. When you live for something greater, everything about you, your tone, your focus, your presence changes. You stop being reactive. You stop negotiating for respect. You become the man she respects automatically. And that's the full circle of masculine attraction. It starts with self-respect, expands through leadership, radiates through confidence, matures into boundaries, heightens with mystery and touch, stabilizes through emotional safety, and culminates in purpose. Together, these 9 triggers form the backbone of timeless attraction: ancient, primal, unchanging. Because in the end, this isn't about learning tricks to get women. It's about remembering what kind of man you were designed to be before society told you to shrink. When you reclaim that version of yourself, the calm, confident, mission-driven man, you stop chasing and start attracting. Not just women, but respect, opportunity, and peace. So ask yourself tonight, what am I building that would still matter if no one clapped? Because that's where your true magnetism lies. And once you find that, you'll never need to chase attraction again. It'll find you. Never forget, you are the prize. Protect your energy, pursue your purpose, and watch how everything else aligns.